Well, happy holidays. We are now past the official day of Christmas. I hope you had a great one, and we are now headed towards or should say, hurtling towards the end of our 2024, and so we shall be looking forward to what's going to go on in the future. I want to thank you for joining me today. I may have noted my lighting has changed a little bit here, and we'll see how well this works, but we're going to endeavor to do that. I'm enjoying my fluffy new what do you call this thing? Robe. My winter robe. So, yay. And so before we get started today, I want to thank you for joining us. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe so you get all the content when it becomes available. And also remember to, after you've watched this video, if you like what you've seen, share it with others so that we can get more people to know about the channel and do what we can to help everybody's game become great. So this is the Twitch between. I don't know that this will ever make it to YouTube because I really want to share with you as Twitch viewers how much I appreciate you and how much I appreciate the time that you spend watching my videos. I know that I don't make the long form as many people do, and so I'm not certain how well those are expressed, but I do want to let you know how much I appreciate you. When this does get to YouTube, I want to thank you, YouTubers, for taking the time to watch. We have made some major accomplishments in the last few months. We are at 200 subscribers and nearly 20,000, well, just over 20,000 views. So we're pressing on towards our goal. I've made tons and tons of videos over the years, but I haven't really pushed and promoted as much as I have for the last months. So I do want to talk about how much I appreciate your participation in what we're doing, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for, of course, the viewers. So next we're going to talk about what we have going on right now, and that is celebrations galore. We have made 2 accomplishments so far that are of major note, and that is that the Nykos Master Book and Dark Shards Enhanced Editions, both in pre-release format, have been made available, and you can actually purchase them now at lulu.com. You just look up Jonathan Albin on lulu.com and you'll be able to find the books that are available there. I've actually published a bunch of other titles as well. We are also starting now the beginnings of the Kickstarter preparation. If you have taken your time to get involved, this is probably the best time to get involved with the program because we're going to be adding a whole bunch of new benefits to the different tiers of the Kickstarter. We're going to make that available and public in the next month or so. And we're really looking forward to your support in getting it out. Now, we're only initially doing the pre-release of the Master Book and a stretch to maybe be able to do an initial version of the Dark Shards, but no, we're not in any position to state what those would be, but just know that the Kickstarter will be focusing on the Master Book in particular to get it to be the best book it can be. Because of the fact that I need to get this out to a lot of people as quickly as possible, I am looking for game masters who will help me be the forerunners of this. If you haven't even heard of the NycosRPG mechanism, I'd adjure you to check out the NycosRPG website, NycosRPG.com, but also in particular take a look at a bunch of the videos that I've done on the NycosRPG mechanism, how it works, how it can be a benefit to you, and how to get started with that. And if you want additional information on that, feel free to reach out to me directly or through a PM, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible. We are looking for about a dozen storytellers across the country to pick it up, play test it, run some games in the mechanism, give me some feedback what we need to any final tweaks or modifications we have to make and things like that. This is also, since this is the Twitch Between, we're also doing a casting call for a live stream RPG again. It will be recorded on Friday nights, so let me know when that's, if that's something you'd be interested in being a part of. We generally are looking for about 6 players on live stream, but we could actually accommodate more. So let me know what you offer and what you would like to be, what you would like to, how you would like to support and promote and help us with this. And then finally, I'm going to be getting ready to send out release review copies of the pre-release version. Now, this won't be the fancy final version of the book, but it'll be the version that's available to consumers right now. In addition, if you want to know information but you don't want to commit to that level, do go to NycosRPG.com, go to the free, Play Now section, and check out the Master Book Fast Play rules. That'll give you an idea of how the game mechanic works and give you some small number of the options that will be available once the product comes out. So as an added teaser for today's show only, I'm going to be adding in some storytelling secrets that will change the way you play role-play games forever if you're able to apply and adhere them to the games that you're running. And the first one is that storytelling is an art. It is not a science. I know there are a lot of sites like my own that promote the real way to play role-play games or the one way to handle NPCs or whatever. And I'm revealing to you right now that it is a secret, that it's an art form. It's not something that can be determined by what other people suggest. So be prepared to engage in your own investigation, imagination, and creativity along the way. It's not something that you pick up and run with on the very first episode either, so be aware that it might take you some time to develop the skills, but that everyone involved, from the newest player to the most veteran grognard, is pulling for you. We are all about the advancement and expansion of the creative hobby, so don't feel like there's ever any situation that is too dangerous or too vulnerable for you to include in your games groups. Another aspect of role-playing environment that is sort of been secretive is that the way to play is mysterious and difficult to comprehend and whatever. But the reality is that it's fundamentally the expansion of the concepts of community dynamics. And in other words, if you want a games group to be a certain way or play a certain way, you have to provide them with the tools that make that possible. And the main way to do that is through the perspective from which you approach the story as a game master. You're going to be coordinating with others. The players at the table are a part of the process, and so by coordinating with them, you can get to the achievements you're wanting to accomplish as quickly as possible and as completely as possible. This is because we all are sharing in the experience of the role-playing game. It's not a performance issue. It's not whether you can be the best storyteller and make the world a different place because of it, although that does help. It's making sure that you pay attention to the details of the scene, that the players are aware of all the possibilities they might get You coordinate with them to the utmost in terms of what they're wanting to accomplish within the story. And you are bringing with you a mechanic that's easy enough to comprehend that the players can easily glom onto it and make it the center of the way they operate. This understanding of the dynamics is what gives a smoothness to the game session so that it feels absolutely professional from beginning to end, and there's no unanswered confusion out there. Now, this really comes down to the fact that the gameplay experience is not a one-way street. It's not, as the old saying is, it's not a dancing monkey. You're not presenting information and then the players are only drawn in and captivated by that side of the story, but their shared experience is what makes it drive forward. So be appreciative of the opportunities and advancements and creativity your players have, because when you reward that in game, they continue to provide it. And it's that feedback of recognition and reward, accomplishment and achievement, and expression of the appreciation of that really matters, because it's the reaction and the awareness that the players have in the scenes that make the scenes feel valuable, feel worthy, and feel like something they want to become a part of. Ooh, I jumped ahead. Alrighty. So, I get my camera set up here. I don't know how that got turned around, but it's okay. When we speak of the purpose and intention of the game, it is we as the players after the fact that will be the bearers of the burden of the story, but also the benefits of the story. And so realize that a person's memory matters, but it doesn't do so in a way that you would think. And what I mean by that is when we talk about what constitutes or defines a game session in roleplay terms, we refer to the objective that we intended, the direction we were traveling as we intended, and what happened. Not necessarily did we accomplish that goal. And the takeaways from the game's experience is always and only the memories that we have. Certainly we might have treasured relics, an actual scroll that was handmade in a story by a game player or a game master, or perhaps a item that became identified as useful in that particular story, and therefore we now grant it gravitas, so to speak, simply because it's a proof that the experience happened. But the takeaways of it all is in the mind. And one of the greatest benefits of a role play experience is that you get to keep that for yourself, and you define and create what you remember of it. And this is where what I said about memory matters applies. The memory patterns of human beings are malleable and adjustable. They've proven this over and over again, and that's why when we think of the idea of hearsay or repeating back what you heard somebody else say is not valid in terms of evidentiary purposes, but the evidence that does remain nonetheless is your feelings, your experience, and the happiness or value that you place on it. And because of this, it's important to remember to plant member berries. And again, this is a secret, if you will, to most game masters, because if you do not provide your players with hooks to hang their memories on, their memory will become blurred with other adventures and they will not be able to differentiate. But if in a particular case you put a certain brand on the engagement, then they will remember that was associated with that encounter, that adventure. This helps to cultivate your game culture as a community, because you're giving everybody an opportunity to add their own 2 cents into the memory, the mechanism of the game's continuation after the session. And it's also remember that even if you had, let's say, a particularly bad experience individually in a game session, if the collective members didn't face that kind of a challenge, then it simply can go away. And so just embrace that which remains, because that is where the member berries grow, is in that really fertile soil of euphoria about gameplay and the specifics that people can remember. So in the aftermath of a game session, it's, especially if you run week after week after week, it sometimes can become a memory slurry where all of it kind of runs together. But do recall that your memory being a malleable resource means that over time you can cultivate a memory of the specifics that's more intentional. And that comes from the intensity of the game session. Sometimes you are dealing with very stressful situations and a lot of conflict and combat. Perhaps there's a situation where there is doubt and worry about betrayals. All of these things are very powerful, but they are actually able to help us track our way over time, because we can put markers, intentionally or otherwise, into the session so that they are delineated differently from the others. After all, when we talk about what we're really speaking about is the mechanism of imagination. And what is imagination if it isn't our intentional blocking out of virtual space in our own minds and associating value to those things? So shared experiences are still experiences. I was reading something the other day that said that a person who has been working on in memory, for example, something as simple as tying their shoes, became better at tying their shoes, even having not done so in a long period of time, by the very practice of imagining that they had. And this is really what the merits of roleplay can be. Now, it doesn't mean that, for example, because you played a role-playing character in a game and you carried a machine gun or a shotgun, that somehow you're a better marksman than you would be otherwise. But the very process of going through what you would in the fictional reality does tend to add acuity and appreciation to that, to the point where down the road, another decade, how do you know that you do not have any skill in that? You might actually have accomplished things in the game mechanism that adds to your own personal life's experiences in a very tangible way. You see, this aspect of accomplishment that occurs in a role play game. I've been GMing for 50 years, and do I have great satisfaction in what I've done? Certainly. Does it have any merit in terms of the real world? Well, in certain categories, I suppose you could say yes, because I've generated some revenue from it. I've written some books about it. I've certainly gotten more in tune with the people that I know through the activity of it. So I would consider those all to be great successes. But when we talk about the accomplishments that occur in game and whether they actually matter or not, it's in our shared experience in life that we gain real awareness of our friends and our associates. And if we spend all our time only playing and not thinking about the value and the merit of the experience of doing so, we are kind of missing the point. It is about shared experience. It is about community decision making. It has everything to do with the ability to really take a hold of our world as we are and become more simply by engaging with others. And there's nothing more powerful than role playing for that. Now, as we are nearing the end of this episode, I did want to also mention that going forward into the next year, we will be recording Monday through Thursday, as we have been, at 10 a.m. and 11 p.m. each day. We will be changing the format and putting on some new shows, some new concepts. And if you want to become a part of that with us, do check out NycosRPG. NycosRPG on YouTube. But where I was actually going to is our Patreon account, patreon.com/NYCOS, just like the logo above. And consider becoming a member there, because you will not only gain access to our Discord and the conversations about the future that we have there on occasion, but you'll also become a member of our community. You'll gain citizenship to the world of Nykos, and that means you'll have the opportunity on Fridays and Sundays to play RPGs with us via Discord. And of course, if you ever get a chance in the Southern California area, come to Board Game Paradise in Redlands, California on Mondays and Tuesdays, and we have game sessions live there. Alrighty, I've done everything I needed to do this morning. I want to thank you for being here. I hope you're having happy holidays, and I will see you at the next episode.